All right, back out here at CPAC 2024 in Washington, D.C. I'm joined now by Carla Sands. She is a former ambassador under the Trump administration with Denmark, and she's also with AFPI, and you do all kinds of things. Thanks for joining us here. Nice conference here so far, right? Day one?
It's amazing, day one. We did an international summit last night and talked to leaders from other countries about how important it is to have conservative values in order to protect our nation states and not become part of an international global communist, sort of entity.
What's interesting what happened in Argentina, and of course,
yes, very exciting.
And there's, around the world, it's so the eyes of the world are on us.
Yes.
It's safe to say that.
That's because we are the security backstop for so many countries. We're also the biggest trading partner for many countries. They look to the United States for our first principles, our constitutional rights, and that's one of the beacons, one of the things that's causing people to invade our country right now. Once Joe Biden opened our borders, people want to come here. They're not breaking in to China, controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. It's because of our freedoms, our prosperity, and our security.
All right, we're going to talk about getting out to vote, how we should vote, when we should vote. And we were just talking before we came on about, I was up in Michigan, and it was day one of early voting. And a lot of people said, you know what, I'm going to wait until Election Day. But there's two sides of this debate here, and I know that you're an expert on this. So what should people do? I know the left is really good about getting out early and voting,
yes.
But what should we do?
So do you want to win?
Yes.
Okay, if you want to win, you have to vote early. I'm just going to make the case. We lost in 2022, 2023, and 2024, those three specials that just happened about a week ago, we lost every single one of them because the Democrats voted early and the Republicans did not. I give you New York. They had a snowstorm on Election Day. The Democrats won because they had all voted those 9 days of early voting. In my home state of Pennsylvania, we have 50 days of early voting. So I'm going to tell you a story. In 2022, in the election for the Senate, John Fetterman had about 1 million ballots banked on Election Day. Dr. Oz had about 250,000 because Republicans did not vote early. How do you come from behind 750,000 votes on one day in 12 hours? You can't. It's impossible. If you want to win this year in 2024 and you want President Trump to return to the White House, please use every legal means in your state to vote early and either take your vote to your election office in your county or mail it in, put the stamp on it, mail it in. You can check online that it's been counted, and it doesn't go through the machines. It just goes through a counter. So many Republicans will feel more secure that way. And at AmericaFirstWorks.com, if you'll go to AmericaFirstWorks.com, we have trainings there with people like Congressman Lee Zeldin and Grant Stinchfield. Once a week we have trainings, and we have a Telegram channel that you can sign up for at AmericaFirstWorks.com, and you can actually share information about why we need to vote early and why we need to vote at all with your friends and family and your coworkers, because we have an app that helps you share that information. We have to win this year. If we continue to do the same thing as we've been doing these last several elections and expect a different outcome, well, we know what Einstein said. That's insanity.
That is insanity. You touched upon something earlier about being secure. A lot of people say, I don't want to mail my ballot in because it might get lost in the mail. I want to make sure they have it. It could. But you're saying that, is there a notification that lets them know that their vote was received?
Yes. So you can actually look online and know that your vote has been received. And if it hasn't, you can go to your county election office and vote. And then you can check again. Every state is different, but most states have early voting. Some allow harvesting. You can actually gather your friends and family's ballots and take them in. Some, like Pennsylvania, 50 days. New York, 9 days.
That is insane.
Use every single lever
but we might as well use
that
it,
you
right?
have. The Democrats are. They're getting people registered to vote during this time. Then they're going to their homes and helping them put the stamp on it or driving them to the polls early. So however you want to vote is great, but please vote early. Governor Youngkin of Virginia would not be governor today if he hadn't pushed Republicans to vote early. He got 60% Republicans to vote early in that election that he won. I ask you, Commit to doing this so we win. And I want you to practice in the primary. Do it now so that in the general, we're ready and we already know how to do it.
So on Election Day, do they count the mail-in ballots they got early voting? Is that the first votes that get counted?
Every state is different. You can check online how those votes get counted. Some states start to count them as soon as they're received. Smart states like Florida, I believe. Some states do not. But you can check online. It's all available. And the election rules are available for you to check. I really urge you, do not keep doing what's been failing. Let's try something new. I just hope, because this is such an important election, so that we preserve our liberty in our country and so that we are able to pass the American dream on to our kids and grandkids, that idea that your kids and grandkids can do better than you've done, and that's only because of the blessings of liberty.
Carla, I've often said after the 2020 election, I think this next general election is going to be quite different as far as poll watchers go. We're going to make sure we keep our eyes on the ballots.
That's right. Poll watching and poll working. You can sign up to be that. You can sign up to be a precinct committee man. Go to precinctcommittee.com. You can also, if you have a young family member who's a lawyer, encourage them to be a lawyer to help us secure our election. We didn't have enough lawyers who are tough and fearless, young men and women who are going to fight for our election integrity now and on Election Day. In 2020, we were way outgunned for attorneys. We can't let that happen again, but we have to prepare now. Let's not assume things are going to happen. Remember, we're God's hands and feet on earth.
Yeah. Last question for you. If they see something on Election Day, they should say something, because I think that's what always, right? Report.
Yes, report, get an attorney right away, put it on social media, push it out, raise alarms. Remember, there were things that happened in 2020 that were reported even to the FBI that they hid, that they took no action on intentionally. So we have to push it out in every channel, anything you see, every single way you can, from social media to the people there at the poll. Wherever you see, we need to report it and raise a stink. If we do it, but I think we can't wait until Election Day. We've got to have these attorneys on board now. So if you have one in your family, I want you to encourage them, and we will have their back.
I've often said I don't think what we saw in 2020 is going to happen again, because there's enough people now that have their eyes open. I mean, they could.
So that's why I want you to vote early.
Here you go.
We don't know what they're going to do on Election Day. What if power gets shut down and the machines don't work? What if something happens from a foreign nation because they don't want Donald Trump back? And even Putin said he wants Biden to be reelected. Let's make sure that doesn't happen.
How can people follow you? Because I know you've got you're involved in several different things. America First Works, and of course your own initiative under President Trump. I mean, you were the ambassador to Denmark. That's a pretty good title, and I know that you 100% support President Trump and his policies.
So, do you want President Trump's policies back? Do you want a secure border? Do you want to stop the wars around the world? Do you want to stop the out-of-control spending that's injuring our kids' future because of the debt and the deficit? If you want to make America great again, vote for President Trump. You can follow me on Twitter at Carla H. Sands. I'm at AFPI, America First Policy Institute, as the vice chair for energy and environment. I'm also the state chair for Pennsylvania. We have Georgia, Pennsylvania, California, Florida, and Arizona are our first 5 state chapters. We're going to make our states great again, too.
I love it. Carla Sands is joining us here for day 1 of CPAC 2024. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more ahead.